Sometimes making even the simplest of changes can really help save money on your next grocery food bill. Let's talk about this. Back in a minute. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode of my channel, Save Money More with Jan channel. How you doing today? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the first afternoon show in 2025. Yeah. How you doing today? Hope everybody's doing well. One of the greatest things that many people set goals for this time of the year, right? I don't believe resolutions. I believe in goal setting. And one of the goals I like to commit to, of course, is to be able to save even more money. There are ways and there are ways. And there are even simple ways that we could stretch our food budget, things that perhaps we overlook doing many times. I don't know why we do it. We all do it. I guess it's just human nature. But maybe we could be a little more mindful of things. Simple stuff, too, not earth shattering. For example, when you go to the grocery store, right? I noticed something in my local store. Okay, looking at breadcrumbs, for example, there's flavored breadcrumbs, seasoned breadcrumbs, and the plain. And in my local grocery store, they are the exact same price. And I'm like, wait a minute. I usually would end up seasoning them. Why do I have to do that? If I could purchase the seasoned breadcrumbs for the exact same price, not have to keep touching, all of my seasonings for everything else. You see where I'm going with that? There are lots of stuff like that. There's another example. If you look in your frozen section at the grocery store, for example, like sometimes if you want to buy, like, those frozen potatoes come in handy. But if you want to get frozen potatoes, some of them have actually added to it, like chopped onion, chopped pepper, things of that nature. If you like that, and it's pretty much the same price. Think of all the effort and not having to worry about having those extra ingredients on hand because let's say it's a really tight week and you don't want to have to go for purchasing separately onions, separately peppers. You see where I'm going with this? Look for things with things in it, if you will, that you like, and it's still relatively the same price. Now, sometimes, of course, it's different, a big difference in price, and you have to be the person to decide, what to do. But that's a good way to do it. Find items that are reasonably priced, that have the things in it, that saves you the trouble of having to buy those extra things and keep the flavors going. That's the truth. Next, think about this for a minute. I have discovered this. Now, I know it sounds really crazy, but it's simplistic, but it's really smart. Even a 2-pound sack of flour in your home or apartment could help stretch your food budget in so many ways. Example, to simply make your own gravies and sauces, for example, or to use it as a thickening agent, or to make your own cake from scratch. One 2-pound sack of flour, you could definitely make a number of cakes from scratch. You can make bread. You can make your own homemade pizza. And I'm telling you, with the price of outside pizza today, it ranges from the sublime to the absolutely crazy ridiculous. I'm not saying it doesn't taste good, but it could be really, really expensive. And we're trying to save some money on food while still being able to get food. But you're opening up another world by having that flour in your home or apartment. There are just so many things that can be made, including quick breads or biscuits, which really help stretch a meal. If you're having a simple, let's say, soup or stew, it's nice to have a homemade biscuit on the side, isn't it? You don't have to spend extra. And to do it is so easy. And the recipes are all over the place. And easily at the click of a button, you can easily learn how to make those recipes. So keep that in mind. The inexpensive pizzas you're saving money on, the quick doughs. I don't use yeast. I could if I want, but I don't want to make a pizza dough. I'd rather just work the baking powder method. So easy peasy. So just a couple of sacks. Well, yeah, a couple of sacks of 2-pounders would help. But if you could get even a 5-pounder at a less price, it all depends on your family and your needs. If you live by yourself and you don't cook too often, a 2-pound sack is still really an important thing to keep in your home or apartment. I'm just saying. All right. Hang on to those. This sounds crazy too, but it helps save and stretch. Did you ever want a hamburger and you ran out of ketchup, but you really enjoy a hamburger with ketchup? Might even help you decide not to eat the hamburger. But if you had that leftover package of ketchup that, let's say, somebody else bought fast food in your family and they decided to keep in your home or apartment, keep a stash of those. If somebody else, buys fast food and they don't mind giving you those extra condiments, or you happen to have those extra condiments, they absolutely come in handy even for recipe use. Like if you want to use a little bit of mustard, for example, in a recipe and you ran out of the mustard, they really help bridge the gap, including barbecue sauce as well. These are like little ways, little things that we could do. Also, stock up, and I am a firm believer of the following: stock up on small cans of tomato sauce. They're 8 ounces, okay? They come in so handy. I know I've mentioned it in the past, but there may be somebody new who didn't hear the prior video. Those little cans of sauces are perfect for when you make a homemade pizza. Why? Because actually, when you make pizza, you're not supposed to drown it in sauce. Just saying. So those little cans come in handy. You can make your own pizza sauce. It is the simplest thing. Get Italian seasoning, get garlic powder, salt and pepper, and a little bit of oil, like a capful. Add everything to that 8 ounce can of sauce, heat it up. Voila, you have your own pizza sauce on the cheap. And to do it in the small increments is really, really a savings. Instead of buying a jar, opening it up, and it just sours in your refrigerator because you didn't really use it for like 2 weeks or whatever. No, 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 no. Better off, it's so fresh. In my opinion, well, and actually in my life as factual, I've done this. So I'm telling you, really, really works for me. And hopefully it would work for you too. There are so many ways that we can think about of saving money at the grocery store on food. Like, let's think about breakfast, for example. I think in general in life, breakfast has become this big complicated meal. Back in the old days, what did people have for breakfast many times? They would have toast, coffee, and maybe one of those itsy bitsy teensy weensy orange juices. Ever see that? Those little orange juice glasses back in the 70s and 60s? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what people did. But it was not so complicated, particularly during the week, Monday through Friday. If you could think of it this way, for breakfast, just concentrate on purchasing 2 items for breakfast, okay? Like toast and egg, or a slice of, let's say, banana bread and coffee. 2 ingredient breakfast. Like, keep it simple. Like, if you work with the 2, and with the remainder of the meals, for example, like lunch and dinner, then you could consider, like, let's say, a 3 option type thing. Let's say a starch, a potato, like this potato is the starch, and a veggie and a protein. That's just an example. And now that we're in the throes of the cold weather, which is kind of handy because if you stretch your budget with soups and stews, I mean, those liquid based meals, I'm telling you, those water based meals are very good on the waistline, very good on the budget. They're hearty, they're welcoming. Come home from a very cold day, sitting down to a beautiful hot bowl of soup or stew with one of your wonderful homemade biscuits on the cheap. You see where I'm going with this? It's up to us. There are ways and there are ways, and we need to find those ways in order to keep our food bill down. Have an amazing, fantastic day. Don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe.